If you look at what the company does as a whole, you guys, and what we've done, so if you look at our team, we've done 17 million in 2024. Grady Polcyn has done over $120 million of issue paid life insurance. If you look at just his team and what he has going on, guys, he is bigger just with his team than any other competing IMO that there is. So not saying insurance carrier, but anybody in our space that is a broker, that is an IMO, Grady could literally be his own. Okay, guys, so Grady Polcyn is literally, everything in the business, I pretty much copied it from Grady. So what's so awesome about the model that we have here at Family First Life and everything that we do is it's literally copy and paste. So there's a lot of successful people in the business, but whenever they say, hey, I was really, really successful at FFL, or I was really, really successful in the business, I'm like, that's awesome, except for you really just copied and pasted from somebody else. So that's essentially what I did with Grady, guys. On day one, he's always been in support of our team. He was in support of me as a new agent. Our website, everything that we have, everything that we learned from a marketing standpoint, a branding standpoint, a recruiting standpoint, I would ask Grady. I would call Grady, like, what do I do? He would tell me what to do. I'd be like, let me copy his website. Now people will come to me and they'll be like, Marissa, your website's so good. And I'm like, thank you. Obviously it's good. I don't tell them I just copied everything from Grady's website, but my point of this whole idea and having him on tonight, you guys, is because I want you guys to understand that nothing anybody is doing is special. Right? I took it from Grady. I copied it from him. I hope all of you would just copy and paste everything that Grady did and I did, and then you do it your own and you make your own thing. So I'm super, super excited to have him on. One thing about him, guys, we love him, but he used to be way meaner than he is today. So be thankful for him, because I remember when I first started 4 years ago, brand new agent, you would go to the office. Grady, do you remember? You go to the office and then like if you took a couple days off and then you came back, you'd be like, oh, hey, Grady. And he'd be like, who are you? And I'd be like, what do you mean? And I'd be like, we met like last week. I'm a new agent. He'd be like, no, I don't remember who you are. Because he wanted to show me that like you can't just take days off and not be. So he was hardcore, guys. He's still hardcore. If you look at what the company does as a whole, you guys, and what we've done. So if you look at our team, we've done 17 million in 2024. Grady Polcyn has done over $120 million of issue paid life insurance. If you look at just his team and what he has going on, guys, he is bigger just with his team than any other competing IMO that there is. So not saying insurance carrier, but anybody in our space that is a broker, that is an IMO, Grady could literally be his own. So GP, I'm very excited to have you. Guys, he's going to talk about tonight whatever he wants to, because he's the greatest of all time. So he can say whatever he wants, but make sure you guys have your notepads out, because we don't get to have him on. He's a busy guy. He has a huge team. And I want to make sure that anything he says, we really take in and try to apply it ASAP. I'm done.
Well,
I promise, Grady. You can go.
You are incredible from many different things. But first, could you please do me a favor and hammer an MM in the chat below to show Marissa some love for how well she puts this together. And it's, you can tell how good a team is by the leader at the helm. I'm right. But no, I mean, Marissa, thank you so much for having me on. But this is about you guys. This is a call for you guys, for you to get better, for you to grow. And I'm going to do my absolute best to give you insights and value in regards to marketing, specifically marketing yourself and marketing in the climate which we live in, which is you guys are all insurance brokers and potentially insurance agency managers and future massive insurance agency owners. And that's the beauty of what we can do here at Family First Life with the insurance license which we have, and what we can do here now in 2025. So if you have questions as I progress, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to talk about anything. But I have a few things I kind of want to cover, and then it's always good to, you know, leave room for some Q&A, because I'll kind of go down a direction. But first, so, you know, thank you for having me. Thank you, Marissa. I sold a ton of insurance. I've recruited thousands of people, and it's amazing what is possible when you put yourself out there. It's like, you know, the fisherman with one hook in the ocean doesn't catch a lot of fish, but you look at the big fishing ships and they put like 20 hooks out there, and they're dragging. I don't know how they manage to have like 20 hooks, but they're just really good at geometry, and it allows them to drag all these hooks with bait and worms and all the things, but they're catching more fish. And so for you guys, you've got to think about this. Am I buying enough leads to give myself a chance? Am I having enough conversations each and every day to potentially recruit my business? Am I following up with enough people to put options in front of me where I could grow something here. And I think that's really the differentiating factor, that we are all conditioned now in our world to be able to sell virtually, right? You can wear basketball shorts and a polo, and I have jeans on, but you can wear basketball shorts and a polo and sell virtually over Zoom. Or you can go to a nice office like Des does, and you have to then decide, am I going to keep dialing? Am I going to keep pushing myself forward in this new world? And so you see people that are these outliers, or these people that branch off and they'll go right 10, 20, 30 in a week. And you're like, well, how do they do it? They're just investing more in leads. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of our new agents will come in, and they're conditioned to think that I could just dip my toe in with $300, or I could dip my toe in with $500 or $1,000. And that's fine. But sometimes your first sale comes after your third lead order. But then now you've got all this experience that you can go back into your first and your second lead order and start to have some sales. Now, that's the same thing that I want to kind of help you guys understand with marketing, is that as you're starting to build something here, and let me dig into that, is, as a producer, you make money, and but you only make money when you sell. And the beauty with that is that how much can I sell? How much can I kill? What's the possibility here? But at the same standpoint, it's like you're an hourly employee. And, we talk about entrepreneurship, and we talk about business, and we talk about wanting to create long-term stable financial freedom and residual income. But the reality, though, comes to when you're not selling, you're not making money. And what I always preach to new agents is to not just think about what I can do, think about what I could do with a team, and what sort of business model could you grow, and how good could you get that people would want to work with you. It's apparent that Digna has taken 2024 in a chokehold and decided that she's going to make this year I'm not going to curse on this call, but she's going to take this year by the helm and start to go out there and have lots of conversations. Des is doing the same thing. Diego's doing the same thing. Dominic's doing the same thing. There's many people that started as producers that have now decided to become leaders of their business. And so, as I dig into this, I want you guys to all think, don't look at what other people have done and go, I could never do that. Because when I started this business with 3 kids and no money and a maxed out credit card and barely enough room to buy some age leads of the CRM, I never foresaw a $120 million business. I didn't see that. Being dead serious, I wanted to get my wife out of her Volkswagen Touareg and get her into a Nissan Pathfinder. And then I wanted to get her Nissan Pathfinder into a Yukon XL. And I'll tell you, we got that Yukon XL in 6 months. And everything changed, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, we got more. The problem with getting a Yukon XL is she can fit more stuff in the back from Costco. And now all of a sudden I've got to find more place to put all this stuff from Costco. So we had to get a bigger house. And so these are the problems, right? So come back around, you sell a lot of insurance, you need to get a bigger house. But I digress. Now, the main thing I want you guys to understand, though, is that as you start to build this, what does that mean, Grady? That means that you guys need to decide, do I want to just be a producer? And raise your hand if you just want to be a producer, or raise your hand if you want to be a business owner. Because the reality, though, is that wanting to be a business owner allows you to say out loud and make the decision with confidence and clarity of what you're trying to accomplish. The challenge with most of us is we kind of wake up, we go through the day, we check our email, we make a few calls, we do some follow-ups, we have the appointments that are pre-booked sometimes, we make some dials, we make a few sales, and we don't put structure into place. And I think that for many of you, there's a great line I learned from Trey Honeycutt early on, is every day you should set a goal to take 2 people from not knowing about FFL to knowing about FFL. And if you set that goal, it's just 2 people. Does that mean 2 DMs on Instagram? Does that mean 2 messages in a group? Does that mean 2 follow-ups with old friends? And I would tell you, raise your hand if you've made a sale with us so far. Just hold it up proud, hold it to the screen so I can see it. Like you're high-fiving me. Give me a high five if you've made a sale. Okay. So spoiler alert, and I appreciate all the 5s. Now, you have now today sold more insurance than pretty much everyone you know who doesn't have a life insurance license. And what that means is the majority of my business came as a result of people I knew. my warm market. And yes, there's this buzz around using TikTok reels, which Des does a great job. I'm not as cute as Des, so I can't do TikTok. Maybe I could, but I could bring my daughter. Vivian would come in. She'd be like, "Sell insurance, Daddy," and then like there'd be there'd be a little dance. But there's all of this thought process around I'm gonna go. It's like leaving voicemails or sending emails. Now, emails are great, but they're not great for just client retention. But there's all this thought process around, can I do work and just throw hooks out there and hope they come back? Now, the hooks we throw in recruiting can be YouTube videos, they can be TikTok reels, etc. But in the end, it's all going to rely on the phone. So for me, and when I got started, I said, who do I know that's ambitious and wants more out of life? Ambitious and wants more out of life. And I called them up and I said, listen, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I made $7,000 this week selling insurance. I just got started. It may or may not be for you, but if you got a few minutes, I've got a video I could show you where it kind of explains what it's all about. And if you like what you hear, I could put you on the phone with someone who can maybe explain a little bit better. And I did that like a couple hundred times. Did everybody get back to me? No. Did everybody join? Nope. Did everybody respond positively? Most, no. Did people go, I don't want to be a part of your thing, or I could never sell $1,000 on leads? I could never do that. Like, I got all kinds of pushback, but I've been fortunate, like many of you, to have a network of people that do like, trust, and respect you. They do look at you as a friend or someone. And I went to and that might have been the problem, guys. So for many of us, we start selling or we come from a place where we're actually comfortable. I was so uncomfortable financially when I started this business that I would have done anything to make it work. And some of us just kind of float right above that level forever and never truly actually get uncomfortable enough to make it happen, right? When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, we'll take action, right? The old dog sitting on the porch where it's just moaning on the porch. And guy walks up, says to the guy whose dog it is, he goes, why does the dog keep moaning? He goes, he's got a nail in his foot. Well, why doesn't he pull it out? Doesn't hurt bad enough, right? So the thought process is like, when is pain going to be so bad, or when are you going to set goals that are so big that you don't care what people think anymore? And it's not as though it's like insurance, right? When I go sell insurance to Betty and Bob, and I talk about how Janine is going to be hosed or screwed, or she's going to be left with this big bill. We use proper insurance selling words. But Janine's going to have this $15,000 bill. Do you want her to take that money that she's going to be wanting to raise her kids with, or do you want to get a small $80 a month policy to put in $5, $10, $15,000 to make sure that little Janine doesn't have that expense, right? With confidence selling insurance that as you communicate with your clients, you're leaving them better. They're guaranteed to get a check, God forbid, or when that worst day happens. Death and taxes, right? We know that from the movie Meet Joe Black, right? Joe dies pretty quick in the movie. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it for you. But in the reality, though, is if we know with confidence that our clients are going to be better off when we sell them insurance, why don't we know with confidence when we talk to our friends or people with ambition and desire for change, they're going to be better off working with us? Is my buddy who sells 3 houses a year and has a job at the electrical company better off doing that and frustrated and bitching to me about his PTO, and sorry for cussing, and or complaining about how he can't take a trip this past Christmas because he already used his PTO because he had to do something with his boy, like, is he better off hovering right above awful, or taking a leap? And it's on me. And now I've offered him to sell, and he's, I could never do what you do. And I'm like, dude, I didn't sell my first 9 appointments, like in person, booked appointments, didn't close them. Like, can anybody go through that? Yes. And so that's really the big thing that I always try to start calls with, is help people understand, like, if you haven't burned the ships, Christopher Columbus, and decided that you're not going to go back to the life that you want, this will be a short-lived experience you have. As awesome as Marissa is, and as energetic as she is, and her zest for life's got me on the edge of my seat. and how passionate your leaders, whoever's recruited you into this, have told you how incredible this business is. If you haven't sold yourself to your future, then you're going to keep repeating your past. There's no possible way that you can get out of the rut you're in, because I was in it. I was 34, broke. My wife was a registered nurse, making more money than me as a nurse, as the man and provider of our household. And I made excuses that I deserved to watch football with my buddies and play on a softball team and all the nonsense that you justify your existence because it makes you feel good because it's who you are, versus being honest and selling myself on the future that I could have. And I never saw a business model like this. And so as I continue to like kind of, you know, I feel as though in recruiting, right, in marketing, you've got to sell yourself on how incredible this actually is before you can truly trust yourself to go sell others. And I don't think anything like I've recruited tons of people, and I want you to have this confidence, but you can't, and this is the hard part about recruiting and marketing, you can't decide if they're going to do it, right? You can't decide if they're going to give up their excuses, if they're going to defend their bad habits, if they're going to allow negativity to chirp in their ear 24/7, 365, and they don't listen to positive stuff. They don't listen to the Jim Rohns and the Brian Tracy's and the Darren Hardys and these things that wash out the negativity in their brain. I got hundreds of books that I've read 11 pages of, but I'll tell you, those 11 pages have made me a better man. And all those things add up to like me deciding that I'm going to choose to get better. And so, but I'll tell you, like so for you, you can go, well, I don't want to talk to Jennifer about it, or I don't want to talk to Cameron about it. I don't want to talk to my buddy about it because he may not want to do it, or he might judge me or something, or I don't have enough success yet. Okay. Like, I get it. Well, why don't you have some success? You know, the best recruiting tool, being at the top of the leaderboard. That was one of the best recruiting tools for me. I came in here and I was like, okay, well, I got to get that Yukon XL because we got to have more room for Costco. So I'm going to have to go sell a bunch. And I started selling, sold 14, sold 30. And then once I hit 30, I never looked back. It was 30 to 40 forever. And so for you, if you do want to build a team, if you want to get out of the rat race of life, if you want to get out of the complacency at which maybe your family is from, or maybe your friends are from, maybe the small town you grew up in, it's just kind of a ho-hum town and nobody does much and everybody's accepted average, and you're over that. You get around these big dreamers and these big thinkers and these people that have a vision for themselves, and you go, I want this. Well, how you do it is you go sell. That is the number one barometer for, are you making it happen in this business or not? And if you're under 10, you're kind of part-time. If you're under 5, you haven't started. If you're over 15, why aren't you at 20 yet? If you're at 20, why aren't you at 30 yet? If you're at 30, let's get to work and let's keep going. But that's this business.